Thanks everybody for watching this video about Nioh 2 and its bosses. I've been playing a lot of Nioh 2 and other games during this time of quarantine, and I thought I would just, go over some of the fun situations I've been in and some of the bosses I've fought while going through Nioh 2, and give some tips for anyone who is interested in pursuing this game or needs some help, because it is quite a difficult game and some of the bosses can be very challenging. Now, the bosses are tough and mostly well designed, but the enemy AI isn't always as good. For example, this guy really wanted to show off his buffs and totally forgot that he used up all of his ki. This enemy really sucks, so feed him a Yatsu no Kami and enjoy the resulting damage. This enemy really wants to get his fireballs out, but my hatchet says no. This enemy can turn into a giant ogre. Too bad he was near the edge of the cliff. Please note that these are only the bosses that I remember to record footage of. I hope this small guide and boss list will help any struggling players. A lot of this is subjective and your experience may vary. Also, please subscribe. It helps me out greatly and makes me excited to make more fun videos just like this one. Gozuki. One of the earlier Nioh bosses, he likes to smash things. Even though he is a bit intimidating to new players with his large smashes, he is not so bad. The charge attack on New Game Plus is one to look out for, but he is the boss that is supposed to teach you how to avoid large telegraphed attacks and to get you evading at the right time, and possibly burst countering his big red attacks if you feel bold enough. Azai Nagamasa. This Birdman is a bit of a standoff, especially if you play like me and wait for openings. If you stay far enough away, he's going to do a Sigrun style aerial attack like in God of War, but it's easier to avoid and may allow you to get some hits in. In the yokai realm, you just have to stay away from him, counter if you can, and avoid the "hey look at the shining things" distraction attacks. Not too bad overall, a little long of a fight, but it may be faster if you want to try your skill and attack him less passively than I do. Enra. This is the first major boss that demands your attention. The small flame tornadoes, large explosions, teleport attacks, and some tricky fake outs can throw you for a loop until you learn them. You need to learn to burst counter when he does his spinning tornado attack and run away in the opposite direction when he teleports. The camera can cause problems, but you'll get used to its tendencies. I always wait until he does 2 kicks in a row after teleporting to get a hit or 2 in. He's also really easy on New Game Plus if you manage to get that far. Gyuki is a 4-eyed giant bull spider, and I know that it's a scary concept, but this fight is made very easy by getting very close. Joe Biden close. I know this seems like a bad idea, but staying far away from this thing is the wrong way to beat him. It took me a long time to figure this out, but once I did, he was not a problem to beat, even though I had to take a shower afterwards. Kamitachi. Kamitachi is one of the few bosses I was able to beat on my first try. Lucky me, I know, but this is the kind of fight I enjoy. Fast, yet strategic in nature. This giant ferret thing loves to run around and fly through the air, but it will land and give you small openings. It doesn't have a lot of HP, and taking out its ki and then going in for some major damage with your yokai-fueled abilities is a satisfying idea. Watch out for some of the trickier attacks he does. Keep your cool, take cover behind some trees, and you will emerge victorious against this speedy ferret boss. Now, who is your daddy, and what does he do? This room isn't the only thing that's on fire right now. Here we have a sexy catgirl dominatrix with flaming wheels for legs, wielding a giant whip. And if none of those things are your fetish, then I envy you. She is pretty intimidating with all the fire everywhere, and her quick movements and avant-garde attack patterns. Try to hit the wheels after her various charging attacks, and make sure you have good fire resistance. Using a water-based weapon like the Tarotachi will help you do some good damage. I found standing still and blocking during her wavy charging attack will help you avoid it and put you in a good position. If you keep your cool and don't freak out at all the other stuff happening, you might actually enjoy this one. Of course, after the initial WTF moment. Magara Naotaka. This frost giant is the first real battle of attrition you will face. It takes a while to get a good opening. He also suffers from the, okay, I'm done attacking. Wait, no, I'm not. Haha! Kind of fake out thing. Block his charge attack, dodge to recover, and run in the opposite direction. He will usually follow up his charging attack in the yokai realm with a large multi-hit attack. learning these attacks and slowly wean his large HP pool down. Be careful and don't get too close, unless you dodge his unblockable grab, and then that's a good time to do so. Minamoto no Yoshitsune. Is this the Tengu's disciple? He seems more like the Tengu himself. This other Birdman is the final boss of the DLC and becomes kind of fun, eventually. As a patient player, this takes me a while. He has an awful lot of attacks. Let's see, we have his aerial flourishes, ranged attacks, his Tengu friend who attacks you. He has a wave attack that will demolish your ki and part of your health, and a blockable grab that has a slightly different timing while in the yokai realm, and some ground combos. He's pretty flashy, but wait for openings if you can find them. And as for the multi-hit wave ki attack, run to the left and then roll to the right on the last hit. Also take note that when he's near death, the timing slightly changes on this and it becomes even more deadly, but he will telegraph it by summoning his Tengu. Watch for the yokai pools on the floor and be able to run left and right to avoid his various arrow attacks. With patience, you'll find some openings and be able to take him down. A shout out to the Obsidian Samurai, who is a good solid fight and the one I used to level up when I'm earlier in the game. Taking down his ki is the best way to beat him, especially after dodging his lightning charge attack, which reduces his ki already, and doing some ki damage at the end. I may sound like a scrub a little bit, but the hatchets help a lot in this regard. Matu. The final boss of the main campaign is pretty tough. There is plenty of fire, ice, and lightning to keep you busy. I only have a few tips here, but watch out for the ice burst. It will kill you. I died at least 2 times to this in New Game Plus. Also try to avoid the giant lightning spinning wheel of death. Also bad. I used an AI summon on the New Game Plus because it took a long time to get my hits in and I really wanted my level 170 gear. Ryoman Sakuna. There's an ice side and a fire side. The fire side likes to attack you at close range, and the ice side shoots arrows that make ice burst and water circles in groups of 4. There are lots of windows to attack, but there are also some attacks that make you wait or force you to run around to avoid them. Some of the ice arrows can get pretty annoying, and there's a large attack where he spasms out and just shoots things everywhere. Beat him on my first try, not really that hard overall. Saiyaki Nagawici. He likes to shoot his guns a lot. This fight is great because you are always on your toes and moving. He has some fire-based attacks and an annoying unblockable attack when he is in the air and you get too close. After learning his shot telegraphs, and also that he shoots twice when coming down from flying. He will also stand still and shoot 3 times. I was able to take advantage of these windows to attack. Dodging his fire to move in and get a clean few strikes is immensely satisfying and makes me feel like a badass. Cool fight, would recommend to a friend, unlike Windows 10. An honorable mention to Sakata Kentoki, to Sakata Ten... I can't pronounce his name. To Sakata Ten... This is bad. Sakata Kentoki of the final hatchet mastery fight. I beat him with a level 30 handicap by running around like a coward and throwing hatchets around trees and stuff. This fight was intense and almost gave me real-world anxiety. Even though I fought a bit cowardly, winning is still winning. This was an exhausting fight that made me seriously contemplate if turning 40 years old this year is a bad idea. And now here are 2 bosses that are not as hard as everybody says. Tatari Moke. I had played Ori and the Will of the Wisps the same day I fought this giant owl boss. I was pretty conflicted. This boss is really high up on a lot of top 10 most difficult bosses lists, and I couldn't really see why. Maybe it's because I am patient and methodical, while most 20-somethings who make top 10 lists on YouTube are not. I don't know. This boss is a good balance of patience and dodging ability. I really had to focus on memorizing the boss's attacks and how to avoid them. I couldn't just BS my way through this fight with cheap tactics. Dodge his swipes and be ready to change up your tactics if he does a wait I'm not done attacking yet attack or an unblockable move. Using mid or low stance is really good for this. If he goes into the air and shoots those giant homing ghost bullets, just block them and watch for his red burst attack. My only issue is that his red burst attack has a weird hitbox, and his red laser comes out of nowhere with almost no telegraph. In the yokai realm, find the orb. Kill it as fast as possible and just ignore the owl. I don't think I've ever died while trying to kill the orb, but it's a chance you will just have to take. Finally, Shabbat Katsue. This charging bull is tough, and the internet agrees. At first I was so worried about dodging his charging attacks, but he will stop if you just block them. After you get good, it's fun to dodge his attacks and then hit him in the back for additional damage. If he attacks with his guardian spirit, move to the left or right and get ready for his red burst attack and take the opportunity if presented. His unblockable can be sidestepped and punished as well. Don't stay too close. You can avoid his spinning hatchets by dodging through them and getting a hit in. In the yokai realm, block, dodge, and run the flaming charge attack because avoiding it is pretty hard, especially on his third time around the room when he really makes a beeline for you. Look for openings to take down his ki, and remember that he can chain a charge attack into an unblockable attack into a burst attack. Yikes. I don't love this fight, but I don't hate it either. I'm currently using his weapons and armor in my hatchet build, so I've definitely paid my dues. So those are some of the bosses of Nioh 2. I'm still playing this game, and I'm constantly finding new cool things about this game, whether it's a new set, build, boss tactics, weapon technique, items, or whatever. I highly recommend it. This is Dan T of Twisted Banana Productions signing off to go eat some of these chocolate motes I made from the Destiny Cookbook.